Hi you guys, welcome back. So I have another blast from the past video concerning trustee Tiffany Henyard, and the goal of these videos is so we can look back and see how Dolton government and politics played a part and why and how someone like Tiffany Henyard even had the opportunity of becoming mayor of Dolton. And when I say opportunity, it's not to say that women of color should not be given these kind of opportunities, okay? It's to say that women like Tiffany Henyard should not be given these type of opportunities.
Why I gotta have all this controversy? Why I gotta have all this back and forth with my board? For what?
Ain't no stopping us now.
No! God, please, no! No!
When I put you in your seat, trustee house, trustee Belcher, never would have been a trustee. I the one made it possible for you guys to sit where you are now. And all I want to do is help the people. That's it.
Women like Tiffany Henyard, who are obviously underqualified for any type of leadership role, no matter if it's in fast food, retail, government, she should have never been chosen to run a village. And that's just my opinion.
Right when I got in the seat, it been nothing but turmoil because people want to control. They thought I was a young, naive woman that was gonna sit here and do what they say. I'm no puppet. But as you saw, trustee Tammy Brown is a puppet. She just said that she don't read. So if she don't read, how does she know how to vote when she come in here? That means she are told how to vote.
Stop it. Get some help.
She are told how to vote.
So we'll be looking at the previous administration before Tiffany Henyard became mayor, and we're going to highlight the behavior of some of the individuals during these 2014 board meetings. And of course, we will be highlighting the behavior of Tiffany Henyard because at this time she served as a trustee for the village of Dolton. And during these board meetings, you will find that Tiffany Henyard would often team up with Robert Hunt and Stan Brown. I call them the dynamic trio, and when it came to voting on many issues during the board meetings, they would often vote the same. So first, we're going to hear them discussing the budget, and this guy right here is Stan Irving. He was the village administrator at the time, and what he's doing is he's going to recommend certain cuts be made within the village to save the village money. But then he makes a recommendation that not only stunned me, but you will hear the residents respond as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch, and I'll chime back in.
What I distributed, Mayor, was a document that is on village letterhead. This was a document that was emailed to the trustee, the board at large, prior to the first budget hearing, and then it was distributed at the budget hearings. This shows my analysis, and I signed it at the bottom of page 2 of staffing recommendations, as it's titled, that could potentially, if all of these were followed, could save the village in excess of $190,000. Going on to the administrative department, eliminate the full-time administrative assistant position, which was in the budget last year. That salary was $55,000. I have asked to create a part-time assistant to the administrator position at $12 per hour, 25 hours a week, which would be $15,600 as compared to what was being paid last year or budgeted for $55,000. I also recommended that my salary go from $78,000 up to $100,000. That was not agreed upon. It was moved to $85,000.
So yeah, amongst all the cuts that he's suggesting, he's also suggesting that he himself get a $22,000 raise.
Money, please.
And I found this very bold of him to make this suggestion while simultaneously slashing other jobs out of the budget, right? So we aren't going to talk about the budget forever, but one thing I did want to mention was that this village administrator ended up getting fired sometime down the line for alleged improper behavior. Let's watch.
I was at a friend's house, happened to notice an older Tribune paper actually, and it was about Stan Urban. And Stan Urban, prior to being hired here or appointed here in the village of Dolton, was basically he actually got fired from 2 jobs, one in Bensenville, and also I believe the other one was in Westchester, Illinois, was fired twice. I'm trying to figure out, for one, why was he even allowed here? Why wasn't proper protocol followed to verify records about this person. Why is he still on payroll amidst all the sexual allegations that are going on abroad right now? It shows that, it tells me, and it basically that you guys, I'm not going to say you don't care, but somebody's not doing their homework. Somebody's not following protocol, and that's what this is about. And the fact that he's also was basically, he's got these sexual harassment allegations ahead of him. The fact that he has these things, and it's sad, it is so sad that we have to put up with that, and that my tax-paying dollar is still paying this man.
So as we heard, he was let go for some alleged misconduct regarding sexual harassment claims. Now let's move on with the board meeting, and next we'll hear about the firefighters. Oh, the Dolton firefighters, yes. We're not only fighting for fair treatment during the Tiffany Henyard administration, but they seem to have had issues dating back to 2014 and before, with their needs not being met as it pertains to their union contracts and collective bargaining agreements with the village. And so they got to the point where they had to file grievances due to being overworked and understaffed. Now, I know I talked about this in my last video, but in this video, we're going to hear from some other trustees as well. So let's listen to the mayor address this issue. And another trustee, as I said, will also chime in to give her opinion on the matter as well.
This grievance that's on everyone's desk indicates the days and the number of firefighters that have worked 3 days in a row. And one of the issues that they mentioned here is that by working triplets, the village is not only violating the collective bargaining agreement, but placing a fatigue factor on the unit members, thereby jeopardizing their safety and that safety of the citizens of the village of Dolton. So everybody has this copy.
And 3 days in a row means 3 24-hour days in a row.
That, which is total 72 hours, straight hours.
Here's another question on that. If it's straight 24, 24, 24, I understand the fatigue when you're doing 24 hours when you're over there and you're working, but you don't get a call every time you're working. So
we are 360 calls ahead of last year's pace. Now you say you don't get a call here. How about the storm days when they didn't get any sleep because they're running full
I understand
Now
that.
You got to work the next day.
So what
now
are they
you got to
going
work the
at?
next day.
Okay, well I understand it. But going off of this, what days are they going by? Are they going off of they had to be at the station for 3 days and then had to do more 3 days? Or are they going off the fact that they were at the station and they had to go out? And then they had to go out, and then they had to go out, and they never got. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because no. Because there's what I'm saying is, I understand how their schedule is. They'll work so many days, they go home a couple of days, and they come back. I understand that, and there may be incidents where they may not be able to go home, and they may have to stay a day or two. But they're saying in this is a grievance about fatigue. Is this a grievance about fatigue because they're out fighting fires? Or is this, no, let me finish. Yeah.
So as we heard this trustee right here, Sabrina Smith, talking to the fire chief about the validity of the firefighters claiming that they had been experiencing fatigue due to being overworked and sometimes having to work 72 hours straight. And we heard her argue that they aren't always working those 72 hours straight. So to me, it sounds like she's kind of downplaying their complaints about being overworked and the stress of working so many hours back to back. Now, I must say, I don't think that someone who has no experience as a firefighter should be able to argue back and forth with an actual firefighter, and a chief at that, and tell them that their claims of fatigue are not valid. Because let's just face it, that's essentially what she's hinting at here, right? She's telling them, since they're not always on calls while they're at work, they shouldn't be fatigued due to working 72 hours. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm at work for 72 hours, I don't care if I'm physically working hard or sitting down doing office work in front of a computer. Just being at work can be mentally draining, all right? Let me know if you guys agree with me down in the comments. And on top of that, they have to be ready mentally and physically to get up and go at any given moment to go fight fires and save lives. Now let's continue so we can hear what the fire chief has to say to her argument regarding their fatigue.
Is this a grievance about them out fighting fires because we have infernos all over the place? Or is this a grievance because they're just at work?
That they're just at work and they're running calls at all hours of the night.
They have to be prepared to go on the call.
We run calls all night long.
But you, that's not what she asked you.
It's like a
Of
police
course,
officer.
no.
That's okay, that's not what I'm asking. We're gonna try and cut some more things so we don't keep going through this.
Of course they're not running a call for 72 straight hours. That makes, your question makes no sense. They're stuck at work. That means they're missing their family time.
Just because they're at work.
Working too many hours. They are working.
Okay, so like I said before, Sabrina said even though they are at work that they're not out fighting fires the whole time, so she's not understanding where the complaints of fatigue are coming from. And we could hear the fire chief speak to the same kind of argument I made about this situation, and that's the fact that it doesn't matter if they are out fighting fires all day long. Just the fact that they have to be at work away from home and actively waiting and ready to go out on any given minute is work in itself. Well, I think you guys get the point. The Dolton firefighters appear to have always had an issue with their claims being taken serious and falling on deaf ears. I will say though, at least the mayor at that time was on their side and tried to speak up for them as well.
Okay.
Okay, they go to bed at 10 o'clock, they could be up at 11, they could be up at 12, they could be up at 2, they could be up, fire the other day, 2:30 in the morning, up all night now. Now they fought a fire at 2:30 in the morning, got back at the station at 7, had to work a whole nother day. Now they didn't sleep that night before. So,
Okay.
72 straight hours at home, not being at home,
I
being
understand
here,
that.
can't leave. But they're just at work and they're running calls at all hours of the night.
They have to be prepared to go on the call.
We run calls all night long.
Unlike Tiffany Henyard, because we know how she acted in the meetings when the Dolton firefighters came and they expressed their concerns. This is what she did.
We will continue to serve despite the fact our health insurance is not being paid, our retirement funds are being taken from us, and workers' compensation claims are not being handled properly. These are serious issues and they need to be addressed and fixed immediately.
All right. Call the next person. Call the next person.
Yeah. Now let's move on, because next there's an argument about budget cuts. And this trustee right here, Trustee Pearson, mentions that certain trustees voted to have their own expenses raised while cutting other things out the village. Let's watch.
The money.
Why don't you
We
cut
just
yours
said you know what? Why don't you cut
they're
yours
raising.
out?
I cut mine. They're raising. I cut mine.
Who's raising it?
Trustee Hunt is adding $4,000 per trustee for training. We already get $13,000 that we don't have to turn in receipt for. Why would we spend $4,000
Be fine.
per
We don't
piece?
need that.
More money for
Well, right now, we
training. Oh, come on. That's taking advantage of these
budget
people.
cuts right now. We're not even on that yet.
Lord.
So Trustee Pearson mentions that Robert Hunt, you guys know Reading Robert over here, voted to raise the trustees' training budget by $4,000 per trustee. But he also mentions that they already received $13,000 that they don't have to turn in receipts for. So why did they vote to get more? First of all, I think it's crazy that they don't even have to turn in receipts for $13,000 worth of taxpayer money that they were spending. This is an obvious blind spot in the system that allowed some people to mismanage taxpayer money from jump. So it's no wonder why Tiffany Henyard went totally off the rails when she finally got access to more taxpayer money when she became mayor.
Wasteful spending is being done, and it's not from your mayor, Tiffany Henyard. It's from your board of trustees, the Fantastic Four. That's who wasted your money. All I can do is guide you to see what we see. That's it.
She had already been accustomed to spending taxpayer dollars willy-nilly without being held accountable for the spending. So why wouldn't the dynamic trio, right? Trustee Tiffany Henyard, Trustee Robert Hunt, and Trustee Stan Brown not take advantage of an already broken system? They saw the opportunity to get and spend money unchecked, so they took it and ran with it, in my opinion. And then as Trustee Pearson is making his point about the unnecessary extra $4,000, we could hear Tiffany chime in and try to dismiss his argument.
Why would we spend $4,000
Be fine.
per
We don't
piece?
need that.
More money for
Well, right now, we
training.
Oh, it's
Oh, come on. That's taking advantage of these
budget
people.
cuts right now. We're not even on that yet. Lord.
Yeah, so listen to her.
Well, right now we're
Train. Oh, come on.
It's like a don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain vibes, right? Yeah. Just a hot mess from jump. But what also astounded me about them squeezing an extra $4,000 out the budget for their trainings is that this reminded me of a time when Mayor Tiffany Henyard got on the Dolton trustees about their hotel stays while they were attending a conference concerning their positions as village trustees. Let's take a look at her telling them that they have to pay for their own hotel stays.
It'd be too much for me to go through everything you just said. So I'm gonna just hit on the one item that stood out the most, which was the hotels for the stay downtown. I sent the email out to everyone stating that I was not paying for hotels at the IML. And you guys got that before you even made it downtown. I think it was 2 days before. You was told to either bring a credit card, put on file to pay for your own room, or pay for it, I guess, when you got down there. I don't know what decisions any of you made as related to keeping the hotel there. I've been on the board for 8 years as a trustee. We never paid for IML stays because it was strictly right up the street for myself. I can speak for me as a trustee. The mayor always told us that it was within 15 minutes, which it was, and we can drive to and from. So each year I commuted to and from the IML. Now, if I want to pay for a hotel, we get an expense account. Our expense account, and I'll put that in the email as well, equal to about $5,000 that each trustee has received as of today.
So she's obviously nitpicking at the trustees about their training compensation and telling them that their hotels would not be paid for. But on the other hand, as a trustee, she had no problem spending $13,000 and up for her trainings or whatever without even having to provide receipts at that time. Also, I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but she told the trustees that there has been money put into an expense account for them that they can use, but that it was put in there today.
Now, if I want to pay for a hotel, we get an expense account. Our expense account, and I'll put that in the email as well, equal to about $5,000 that each trustee has received as of today.
So basically, they didn't have this money at their disposal until after the fact. This just once again shows the hypocrisy between Tiffany Henyard as mayor and Tiffany Henyard as trustee, right? She did a lot of things in spite. Some people were saying she wanted to be mayor just so she can have some get back at how she felt she was treated as a trustee and how the previous mayor acted. Okay, in my opinion, she turned around and said a lot of the same things that the previous mayor would say. So basically, she would act like the previous mayor. It's to the point where some of the things they said were identical. Let's take a look at this quick comparison so you guys can kind of know what I'm talking about. It's that time. Compare the mayors. Compare one mayor to another. We put them together side by side and see how they compare to each other. I hope you guys like my little song. All right, well, we're going to do some comparisons, okay?
You were not recognized, okay? So the superintendent was talking, and when you get recognized, you can make your motion. That's the problem. You want to run the meeting, and you're not running the meeting. Sir.
Know your place, learn your seats, and that's the problem y'all got. Y'all overstep.
You don't have the floor right now.
But
That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. You think there is no discussion right now.
Because I just
There is no discussion right now. It hasn't been presented.
We're gonna move on because you guys stated what you wanted to take out. We're gonna take out whatever you said you want to take out. You added your attorney information in and vote. Now move on.
We're still in discussion.
All the back
We're still in
and forth for
discussion.
what? Discussion about what?
All the trustees have not spoke.
I haven't.
We're moving on. Can you please call?
No, ma'am, I'll be recognized prior to moving on.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
I got a table in a second. You can't have a discussion on the
There's
table.
not been a motion on it.
I'll make a motion to table it.
You were not recognized, okay?
We're gonna move on,
She
trustee.
can't be recognized?
Trustee,
We're not
gonna
moving
move
on.
We are going to move on. We're not gonna go back and forth. We just said what we needed to say. We're gonna move on. Clerk, can you please call the
I
roll?
make a motion to suspend the
Can you
rules.
please call the roll?
Second.
Second.
I can make a motion to do a table. You can't take that right from me because you didn't give me the right to
When
be
you
up
get
here.
the floor, you can make your
No, I
motion.
can make a table
When you
for
get
you.
recognized, you will
No,
get
sir,
your.
I don't need you to give me the
When
right
you
to
get
make a table,
recognized,
sir. You can't take that right away from
when
me,
you
sir.
get recognized,
Sir, you can't
that's
take
when
that right
you
away
make a
from me.
motion.
Sir, you can't take that right away from me, sir.
Please call the roll.
I just made a motion in second.
Your motion is not granted. Can you please call the roll?
Can we get an attorney up here? Because, excuse me, let's
Because y'all make this into a whole show.
Sir, you can't take that right away. Sir,
Does the director have anything else to add? Has a motion been made to approve the hire?
No, I made a motion to table.
Not second. We're not here for that. We're here to take care of the business. We're not here to go back and forth. It's no respect up here. At the end of the day, I keep telling y'all gonna put some respect on my name. I am the senior trustee. I would like y'all respect.
You gotta give respect to get respect.
I definitely give it.
Mayor, if I could-
definitely give it. You gotta give respect in order to get it. But Mayor, see you in your mouth.
Last week, I submitted 4 sets of minutes. Why my minutes are not being put on this agenda to be approved, I do not understand. The agenda was removed from my office so that the mayor can control the agenda. That's why no one up here can put anything on this agenda but her.
3 questions, Mayor. I placed the 3 items on the agenda. What is our policy for placing things on the agenda?
The mayor approves the agenda.
No. The policy is any trustee that was sitting up here before the 3 came in can place anything on the agenda.
This is not the Tiffany Henyard meeting. This is the Board of Trustees meeting.
That's not what I recall.
It is, Mayor. I'm telling you. Mary Kay, is that not the policy of how we conduct the agenda items?
The practice of the trustees prior to the new board coming in was that any trustee could place any item on the agenda.
So she should not be the only person who can place things on this agenda.
Thank you. So I go back to my question, which is why was my items removed? If that's our practice, I placed 3 items on the agenda. You removed my 3 items per the mayor, and then y'all reposted the agenda.
I did.
Okay, do you have a reason why you took my agenda items out? Okay, well, my question still stands for why my items weren't on there. Attorney Murphy, I even CC'd you on it as well, and no one responded to why my items was not on the agenda. So you said you felt you wanted to take it off because you're not reinstating Chief Collins.
Trustee.
So why the other 2 was not on there? Why was the other 2 not on there, Mayor?
Trustee, they're not on the agenda. We're gonna go forward. We're gonna go forward with today's
agenda. Okay, but I'm asking you that so that I have clarity for next time when I have agenda item.
We're moving forward. Next thing on the agenda.
I was asking
Next
the
thing
attorney
on the
why wasn't
agenda.
my items on the agenda.
Next
So
thing
I'll
on
have
the
that
agenda
issue
is
later.
citizens address.
That's the problem. Y'all don't want nobody to talk. It's no honor to Robert Rules of Order. Y'all know how Robert Rules of Order go. When I tell y'all something, y'all don't want to do it. You want to go back and forth with me. And I'm not the boss of anybody, but I am the leader of this town. And I run the meetings, period.
It's a meeting.
So if I'm telling you guys we're going to move on, we're going to move on.
Yeah, they sound identical, right? And I also did another video where I compared them and just some of their mannerisms and the things they would say. So we can see that she definitely took some things out of the previous mayor's handbook. What I don't know is if the previous mayor had issues with spending as well. From what I could see from the board meetings, he never went really all out extra lavishly with things like Tiffany Henyard did. So besides the talking back and forth, I don't know if they really operated alike. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. If you guys want to see a little bit more of these flashback board meetings, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.